Welcome to Holding Space with Authentically Amy. This is a place where you don't have to perform, prove, or hold it all together. You're allowed to exhale, to feel, to speak, or just be. Here, your truth is safe, your emotions are honored, and your soul is gently invited to the surface. I'm not here to fix you because I don't believe you're broken. I believe your soul already knows the way. My role isn't to give you advice, but to hold a steady frequency of love so you have space to rise. This podcast is an extension of my own healing. If you're here, you belong, and I'm honored to sit beside you. Welcome to another episode of Holding Space with Authentically Amy. I am so glad that you're joining us again. I am here with my new friend, Jake. Jake and I have visited a few times, but I am excited to learn even more about you, Jake, because a lot of times what happens is when people come on here and are in a different situation, they talk about things that you don't talk about as just friends. So thank you for being here, Jake. I'm excited to learn more about you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Well, I just want to start with, I'm here to hold space. That's what I do. And to just allow you an opportunity to share whatever you want to share today. So I am going to hold space for you, and I will just turn it over to you to share what you feel like you need to share today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I want
Of
to talk
course.
about alternative health, things that I've found that have helped me because I feel like that's something that was life changing for me and can be beneficial for a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Because I started a similar path and then ended up with kind of a different journey to find some of my solutions. Um, but I started, you know, at 37 years old. I was 100 pounds overweight. I took 13 prescription medications a night. I'd been to
Wow.
doctors for treatments for gout, skin cancer, and half a dozen different reasons for 10 years each, trying to find solutions to these problems. And uh, it wasn't about finding cures, it was about treatments. And I just found
Mm.
myself in these endless loops of treatments.
Mm-hmm.
And the treatments never lead to the cure. And I needed a
Right.
cure.
Yeah.
Um, Outside of the other problems I had health wise, cancer has always been a huge issue in my family tree. Most of my family's deceased from one kind of cancer or another, uh,
Mm.
and I find a way that it doesn't get me, and more importantly, so I can teach my son what he needs to know, so it doesn't get him either.
Mm.
Um, and I found solutions for myself that work, and they're in some cases, the direct opposite of what I was advised to do by, the medical professionals and their medications. Um,
It's so true. And I want to just say, disclaimer to all of the people watching and listening, that this does require you to have an open mind. Like those of us, I have struggled. You all who know my story know that I have struggled with health issues and with the medical and the disability systems. I fought my way through those. And like Jake, the things that actually helped me weren't the things that helped that most doctors have us doing. And so I want you to come at this with an open mind to hear what you need to hear, and also don't dismiss the things that we're going to talk about because it may just be exactly what you're looking for. Because Jake, right? Like it is. It's out of the box, but it works.
yeah, and I'm glad you put a disclaimer on there. I'd like to have another one. Like, I'm going to advise and recommend some things that, you know, other people wouldn't and might not be best for you. But sometimes I find my answers the backward, the inverse way of how everybody else finds theirs.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, talking about things with your health that involve, cancer and tumors. And a lot of people have real firm ideas on how this works because of the money and science that we have into it. But there's more than one way to be right. And
Absolutely.
you can heal your ailments without chemotherapy and radiation and doing things that are very hurtful to your body.
Right. If you would just take a minute to share with us how your journey started. I know you struggled with a lot of things health wise, but then you took your own path. You decided, I'm going to take my own path, and just share with us a little bit what that looked like.
Well, I said it started at 37, and that's kind of when I hit a fork in the road of my life. Like I was uh, stuck in bed for 6 weeks with depression. I couldn't function, and then I had a calling from God. I didn't understand it in the moment, but that's exactly what happened. And it's if I wanted to live, I had to educate myself
Mm,
because nobody else was coming to save me, and none of these people that I was hiring were, to fix these problems were going to do it. And if I wanted to live, that was the price of it.
yeah,
So I thought about going back to college, but if I go to college, I'm just going to learn all the same stuff that the doctors were advising me on. So I looked around for some advice, and all the smart rich people said just read a bunch of books.
hmm,
Oprah and Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Warren Buffett, and on and on. But I hated reading books. I'd read 7 books in my life till I was 37, and two of
wow,
those were the Bible.
hmm,
But I started with a book on how to read books, and uh, turned it into something more than a passion. And I invested 6 years of my life learning all I could.
gosh,
Um, but it starts with health because, you know, you can't pour from an empty cup and you can't pour from a cup that's not there. So I got to figure out how to be the best version of me before, I can help anybody else with this.
absolutely.
Um, and there's some, we can talk about some specific areas. Uh, I think that skin cancer is like an important, I guess you don't say God bless you, but
That's okay.
um, yeah, skin cancer. I had skin cancer on my face. Uh, Went to a dermatologist, had it, or it was precancerous, and had it removed with ice, more or less.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you freeze this place off my face, tells me to wear sunglasses, sunscreen, stay out of the sun all I can. I did it. It came back a year and a half later, went
Hmm.
through the exact same process. Freeze it off my face, tell me to do this again. 2 years later, guess where I'm back? Same problem.
Wow.
This time I get a tinted windshield on my car. I go to extremes to minimize light exposure and stop this. And finally, after a few more years of that, and I went back again, I just quit because
It's not getting better. It's not changing
no,
anything.
it's just a treatment. It's you go in, you get sick, you go in, you get a fix, they give you something else, that in the end ended up causing more of it. So I read into this through several different books on light exposure. And when we wear sunglasses, it blocks UV light from our eyes, which lets our body know that we're outside and produce melanin, the chemical that lets our skin tan. So if you're at the lake and you have sunglasses on, you're going to be bright red and bright white with no tan anywhere because your body's not producing that chemical.
Hmm.
Yeah, and there's a lot of science on sunscreen having the chemicals that actually cause the cancer.
Yeah, I've heard
So,
that.
yeah, so we're literally causing this problem, ourselves. And once I stopped doing that, I could sit out in the sun for 7 hours a day when it's 100 degrees outside. As long as I drank enough water and took care of the other things, it all I got was tan. and the skin
Wow.
cancer just completely went away.
So you stopped using sunscreen, you stopped wearing sunglasses, and you stopped being scared of the sun, basically.
Yes, more light exposure.
It's interesting that you say that because I read a researcher, I saw a video of a doctor talking about his patients. These were children with cancer and other um, illnesses that were going to eventually kill them. And haphazardly, one of the kids said, I just want to go outside. Let me just spend some time outside. I know I'm going to die. Let me just go outside. And so the parent took the child outside and exposed them to the sun. Didn't understand what they were doing, but the child just asked for this. So they were doing this with the child. And guess what happened? The cancer went away. And the only thing they could link it to was sunlight exposure. And so this fascinates me as a person with very fair skin who has always burned. Like I was a cheerleader in high school. We went to camps all summer and I was like a lobster all summer long, wore the sunscreen, did all the things. So this really fascinates me because and I even said to you, we had this conversation. I said, Jake, I can't see. My eyes are light colored. If I don't wear
Uh-huh.
sunglasses, I can't see. And what did you say to me?
Oh, I don't even know. It's contrast, and where it's like your eyes aren't trained for it.
Yeah,
They're trained to be, in the house. It's like if I lock you in a dark room for a day and then turn the lights on, you're going to be blinded, but it's not because the lights are too bright. It's just you're not used to it.
exactly. And so I said, and then I told you, I said, I go for a walk outside a couple times a day, once in the morning and once in the evening, and I wear sunglasses. And you said to me, stop wearing sunglasses. Just go out and do your walk without your sunglasses. That's when I said, I can't see. So I'm telling you, I did it the other day. I left
Yeah.
my sunglasses off and I went for a walk and I literally couldn't see for a moment when I walked outside. It was like snow, reflecting into my eyes, but I kept at it and my eyes did acclimate. It was just really strange to me because I've never been able to go outside without sunglasses without feeling like I'm blinded. But you were so right. Like the longer I was out there, my eyes began to adjust and it really felt good. Like I felt like my body was really absorbing it and using it in a way, the sunlight in a way that it hadn't before. So I really think you're onto something here that you sharing this is really going to be helpful for a lot of people if they will listen and take it in.
Yeah, it's not going to be for everybody, and I understand that. Um, but there's more than one way to be right, and I'm just, sharing some of the things I learned that have worked for me. Um, but I've also been doing this, for several years now, and I start taking it, to more and more extremes. Um, and I will, whenever my eyes are properly adjusted to the sun, I stare directly at the sun.
That blows my mind.
Yeah. Um, I've done that around a few doctors and optometrists and things like that, and they're, telling me all the fear mongering. You're going to burn your retinas out. You're going to be blind, and
Right. That's all I've heard.
but
Yeah.
after I do it for a while, and you know, nothing happens. It's like I can see, you know, as well as I've ever been able to. But and I can't even recommend that you do it because you can't until you like practice it. But it's like start
Yeah.
with the morning and the evening, the first 15 minutes. We talked about that a little bit with how that works in your for your sleep cycles and your circadian rhythms. But
Yeah. Share that,
whenever
please.
yeah, whenever the sun rises in the morning, it has a red tone, and our brain can subconsciously take in information from it. So, what is the tone of the color from the sun, and what is the angle of the sunlight that we're receiving? And it knows that it's morning time, and our body releases cortisol. This all works through light exposure to our pineal gland, and that wakes us up and works like a natural cup of coffee and gets us ready for our day. in the evening time, whenever our whenever our eyes see a low angle sunlight with a red tint, we know that it's nighttime, and that signals our body to make melatonin.
Hmm.
And as we're outside throughout the day, our body is always uh, taking note on the angle of the sun and the temperature of the sun, the color temperature of the sun, and it adjusts the chemicals in our body all throughout the day based on that.
So wild. So
And that's
wild.
also why blue light exposure and electronics and things like that after dark are so important, because you're going in a room and you're turning on some 5500K lights that are straight overhead, and your body thinks, it's midday and you should, you know, have a lot of cortisol in your body because you should be awake. But when you do this at, 11 o'clock at night and you're trying to build melanin or a melatonin, uh, it doesn't work because your body can't build cortisol and melatonin at the same time. They're chemically inverse. So you can either build one or
Wow.
the other, but not both. So then you try to go lay down and your body's just built up a lot of cortisol, and you have to wear that off before you can start making melatonin and go to sleep.
Listening to you talk and chatting with you, the times that I have, I just am so blown away by the intelligence of our bodies. Like our bodies are so smart. They know what to do. They know how to help us. They know what we need. But somewhere along the way, we were convinced that that's not the case, that someone else knows more. Someone who created this supplement or this thing knows more than our bodies do. And I think what you're getting at is you're you're helping take us back to our bodies know what to do. We have to just allow them to do what they do.
Yes, your body will fix itself if you get out of the way. That's what it's made for. It's nature's smarter than I am. Nature's smarter than these doctors. Nature's smarter than, whoever's giving you this advice. But if we just put our body in the right conditions, it'll heal itself. That's what it's made for. All your body needs to heal is an alkaline state, an excess of energy, in a hydrated environment.
Hmm. My mind, I'm processing this now. I'm taking it all in, because it is a lot. Because those of you who know my story and your story too, Jake, that when you have spent so much time in the medical system, having people tell you all of these different things that you need to do and treatments that you need to undergo and all of these things, it really is hard to pull yourself out from that and just to see it as my body knows, and allow the body to do what it needs to do. But it is so powerful. I mean, I see it in your life firsthand.
Yeah, it's it's a powerful thing, but it's also, been made difficult to do, um,
Yeah.
because, a lot of times it's an individual journey, and the people around you aren't going to understand this. And you need to go to the doctor, and you need to take these pills, and what's wrong with you? You have to do this. Everybody knows that, and you have to be, above all else, willing to educate yourself.
Mm.
Like, don't take my word for it. Don't listen to anybody else. I'm going to recommend. We'll have a book list and the link, uh, for the
The show
bio of this.
notes.
I'll have
Yeah.
some book recommendations in there. But educate yourself. The information's out there, and you're not likely to find it from your doctor, and you're definitely, less likely to find it from your family and friends. So, um, I just want to try to help provide some alternative educational resources, from people who have found solutions in different ways.
Mm. I love that so much because when you're talking, I'm thinking people have trouble trusting beyond Western medicine. And that, we're talking about educating ourselves. I can see where someone watching or listening would say, I don't have time to do that. Like, I don't have time to sit down and read a book or, excuse me, um, I listen to audiobooks when I'm driving, when I'm getting ready. That's how I get around that. So it is possible. It's totally possible if it's something that you want to do. But I can also see someone making a case for, I need someone to just tell me, like, I don't have time to educate myself. Can someone just guide me through this? Is that something that you can do, that you can help with?
Yes, I I can do that.
Okay, hold on. We're going to say it more confidently. Yes.
um, yeah, absolutely, and I help people out with this stuff, all the time. Um, but there's just a lot of good educational resources where some of these professionals have went into like such depth, um, and you have to make time for some of these things. It's like to have time, you got to make time, and
Yeah.
you don't have time. But when you run out of health, you're really not going to have any time, and then all the things you're spending your time on don't really matter. So, um, yeah,
Yeah.
you have to take care of your body. Water is like the biggest things are breathing and water, and food or anything else is like a distant third. Like you can't live 5 minutes without breathing. You can't live 2 days without water. And, where's that on our priority list in life?
Mm,
You
that's
can live
so
without
good.
food for a week, no problem. But, you know, we won't forget that one today.
Yeah. So you mentioned there are three things that the body needs to be able to heal itself. Remind me what those are.
Uh, Hydration. So you have to have healthy hydrated cells. It needs to be an alkaline environment. So this is where the big roadblock for a lot of healing is our diet is conducive to an acidic state in our body. So acidity in our body actually works backwards of kind of what we would think is logical, but it makes sense. So usually people with acid reflux problems or too much acid in their body aren't getting enough acid in their food. So when you eat an
Hmm.
orange or a pineapple, it has a lot of acid in it. And when you eat other foods, it uses that to break the food down. But when you eat some mashed potatoes or some bread, it doesn't have any acid in it, and your body has to produce the acid to break it down. And therein lies the problem. When you eat a lot of foods that take a lot of acid to break down, your body becomes accustomed to building more and more of that acid, and that's where acid reflux and a host of other, health problems come from. But if you eat natural acidic foods, your body doesn't have to produce the acid. You don't have the problem.
Okay. I want to make sure I understand because I have had acid reflux before. I'm sorry. I've got to take a drink.
You're
My
okay.
cough.
Take your time.
So I want to make sure I understand here. If you have acid reflux, which I have experienced before, I was told to not eat acidic foods and spicy foods and those kind of things.
Hmm.
But are you saying that the acid in the body is because we're not ingesting enough natural acids?
Correct. So if you eat
So
fruit
go
and
ahead.
vegetables and it's also important for the fiber in it as well. And like diabetes, like I'll give you some alternative disclaimer type 2 diabetes information later. Um, but yes, if you eat the acid, then you don't need to produce the acid. So
Hmm.
we use the acid naturally that's in our foods to break it down, and then our body doesn't have to produce it. But whenever our diet is almost exclusively things that take a lot of acid to break down, um, yeah. So I've taken probably 6 or 8 different acid reflux medications, before.
Hmm.
Um, and now I have I couldn't say the last time I had an acid reflux problem.
But it needs to be a natural form, like an orange or a pineapple, or not something
Yes.
processed, which I think is where the problem is.
Right. Yeah. The less you eat out of a bag, the longer you're going to live.
I like that. That's a good quote. So we have to have, let me go back to hydration
Okay.
because people think different things about when you say hydration, people think different things. And like you and I had this talk a little bit because I use filtered water. Like I heavily filter my water and I add an electrolyte because I have POTS and dysautonomia and all of that. And we didn't get far enough into the conversation, but you said you were going to convince me otherwise. I'd love to hear that.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm passionate about water. And, we're 66% made out of water. So, how important is the quality of water that you're building your body out of? It's
Right.
hugely important. For me, I prefer spring water. Anything that comes out of the ground naturally, less filtered or tampered with, the better. And I kind of have like, there's like a line, and it's like you have spring water or you have what I call like monkey water. And monkey water is water that humans have monkeyed with.
Mm,
And that's where we distill it or do things like reverse osmosis and then add, you know, potassium chloride and things back in it to make it taste a certain way. But it's stripped water essentially is what it's being started with, and it usually comes out of the tap. And
wow.
it is a tricky business with lots of very clever marketing, but you have to look closely at the details. So Ozarka is probably what I drink the most. Ozarka spring water.
Hmm.
And what's important is that it says natural spring water, and this is from Texas. But they also have Ozarka from Oklahoma that looks very similar.
Really?
Yes, but and if it says MIO on it, don't get that stuff. That's not the stuff. That stuff is tap water that they, you know, filter and add some stuff back to, and it's like Dasani or Aquafina.
Mm,
But when you drink spring water, it has all the natural minerals in the water that you need to build your body with that those others don't have. And the water is always trying to complete itself. And if you don't have those minerals in the water, when you drink that water, it will strip those minerals from your body.
hmm. So help me understand the water's always trying to complete itself. What do you mean by that?
Um, how I explain this? So when you distill water, you boil it, you're losing all of the minerals and any contamination in it. You're turning the E equals MC squared. You're turning it from a liquid into a vapor, and
Right.
then it's
Yeah.
recondensing and it's making distilled water. Now, if you drink distilled water, everybody knows that that's not good for you to drink because it doesn't have any of the minerals or the things in drinking water that we need to get out of it. And that is part of it too. When you're drinking this distilled water, you're instead of thinking it as completing the water, think of it as it's flushing those minerals out of your body.
Mm,
So instead of adding the minerals to your body, you're releasing more of those from you. And that's
okay.
why, well, and that might not be the exact reason why drinking distilled water isn't, preferred, but if you do it for a long enough period of time, like that's what happens.
Mm. It's so interesting. I had never thought about it like that. I didn't know any of this. Like you and I haven't had this
Uh,
conversation yet, but it's so interesting to me because I feel like I'm not alone in this. That the companies don't want us to know this stuff. They just want us to buy their product. And so this is very, very helpful.
uh,
I'm rethinking my filter now.
um, and salt is also like vitally important in our body. And we think of salt as just, table salt. But
Yeah.
there's all these different kinds of salts, sea salts, um, Baja sea
Himalayan.
salt. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Himalayan. I cook with, I don't know, 9 or 10 different types of salts. But each type of salt that your body ingests, it's always drawing water to it. So when you eat these different types of salt, it helps you retain moisture in different parts of your body.
Hmm.
Now I don't
That
have
reminds me.
all the exact stuff on which salt goes to which place, but there's these different like health
Sure.
benefits with people who take these uh, different kinds of salts.
I love that. One of the things I do every morning is I drink organic celery juice. Like I juice my own celery, organic celery every morning because I learned that the celery juice is the most hydrating organic thing there is, that it hydrates on a cellular level,
Uh-huh.
because it has the natural salt in it. Like celery is a natural salt. And I can tell if I miss a day, my migraines are better. I feel better physically. I can do more. I can think more clearly. And I feel like that's probably one of the things. It's that organic and natural salt that's in celery that is so helpful.
And H320. So that's another thing I didn't know about, but the different types of water. And the preferred method of ingesting water is actually through eating it, not through drinking.
Hmm.
So when you eat fruits, they have what's called hydrogen water, and it's has 2 extra hydrogen molecules on it, and that hydrates our body in a different way than H2O does.
Wow.
And the hydrogen water generators you see on Amazon and things like that, that's
Uh-huh.
what it's making. It's making that hydrogen body that hydrates our body in a different way, and that's a lot of what you get through the celery juice that you wouldn't get through, you know, drinking a glass of water.
Hmm. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So it really does boil down to, if we will just eat what we're supposed to eat, things that come out of the ground or grow on trees or that are um, produced naturally instead of processed, that we can get a lot of the things that we need, that our bodies need to be healthy.
Yeah. Um, I came up with kind of 3 principles that I use to navigate this in life. And the third one is really critical for health. Is, was this a problem 200 years ago?
Mm.
So is this a problem that's a problem, or is this a problem that I'm creating myself? And
Mm.
the more you ask that question about all the different things that surround your life, you're going to just start finding out that they're all self-inflicted. And if we
Wow.
quit the cause, then the effect goes away.
Ooh, hold on. I need to sit with that for a minute. If we quit the cause, the effect goes away.
Yeah. And
Wow.
I like I don't like the cause and effect terminology. I like cause and probability. So
Mm.
if you're doing things that are going to increase the probability, of causing a sickness. There's people that smoke cigarettes for 100 years and live a long, healthy life, but if
Right.
you're smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day, it's going to increase the likelihood of you getting lung cancer. And that's
Sure.
pretty universal. Like everybody's on the same page with that. But as soon as we start talking about some different type of cancer or tumor, lymphoma, or whatever, it's like, oh, well, that doesn't apply to those rules at all. That can only be fixed through, you know, all these chemicals and radiation.
Right. Yeah.
But go
So
ahead.
we've talked about the three things that you mentioned, I believe, were hydration, the alkaline state, and then energy. Was that the third one? For the
Yeah,
body to
an
heal
excess.
itself?
Yeah, an excess of energy and breathing. You have to have the oxygen. So,
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. So the explain energy, what do you mean by that?
oh,
Is it in my
well,
brain? I'm thinking it's what you get when you eat food. Like you have to fuel, like it's fuel in your body. That's what I think of. Is that what you mean?
um, well, just as yeah, and that's what we're taught is food is energy. It's like when you don't have energy, you eat food, and that's only uh, that's not really how it works. There are a lot of different ways that we can get energy, and when you eat food, it takes energy to get energy out of the food.
Mm.
Um, so I think of this as like energy in and energy out. So as far as energy in, think of all the energy to this planet comes from the sun. And we can get energy directly from the sun by direct sunlight exposure. We can get energy from the sun through eating a vegetable that got its energy from the sun, or we can
Mm.
get that through an animal that ate a plant, or through, you know, something further down the line until you get into things in bags and GMO and but it's all coming from the sun. And the further that we get our energy from the sun, the more chemical energy it takes to break it down.
Wow.
So if you lay out in the sunshine, your body's producing melanin, pretty chemically inexpensive. You go eat some celery, it doesn't take much energy to break it down. But then you go eat a hamburger from a fast food restaurant, and you're not going to get as much energy out of that as you would be eating the vegetables because it takes more to break down. And then you eat something that, is like highly processed, uh, beef jerky stick or something, and it's like that's
Mm-hmm.
going to take even more chemical energy to break down. So it's energy in and energy out. How much chemical energy does it take to break down the food that you're eating, and how much physical energy are you getting out of that? So kind of the ultimate extreme of it is Thanksgiving.
Oh,
So yeah, you sit down at Thanksgiving and you eat all these calories and protein and whatever all else, and all you have the energy to do is take a nap for 3 hours.
right. Yeah.
But if you eat a bowl of fruit, you would have a lot of energy and be able to work for 3 hours.
Mm.
So it's because Thanksgiving dinner is a chemical deficit. It takes more energy chemically to break that food down than physical energy you're getting out of it.
Wow. I'm literally seeing in my brain right now a chart that shows the sun at the top
Uh
and
huh.
then like all of these natural forms or the things that the sun directly impacts, like plants and things that grow from the ground and trees and food that grows. That's a direct a direct impact from the sun, and then animals are below that. Like this chart, like these layers of energy that I had never even thought about how much energy it takes my body to process the different kinds of food because of their relationship to how they received energy from the sun. That's fascinating. I'm going to be looking at food differently now. So good,
Yeah,
Jake.
that's all it is. It's awareness. It's like once you have the seed in your head, you can't unthink it. But the sun's here to provide light and heal us. It's not something that kills us. It's,
Yeah.
think of it, all the animals and things on Earth, and now suddenly we're the only thing that the sun's killing. Oh, stay out of
Mm.
there and don't go out there without putting something on your skin and covering up. It's like, you know, if the sun's trying to kill you, you're in big trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you think about it. I mean, if you flip that around, like the sun is what keeps everything alive. Like none of the living, breathing organisms, trees, all that on the earth could survive without the sun. It is the living, it's what keeps us alive. And we forget
Yeah,
that.
I
Yeah, it's so powerful.
I found it through religion. I studied a lot of these health books, and I got into just what civilizations prior to 2,000 years ago thought, and you always find some kind of drawing or carving of people worshiping the sun.
Mm,
You know,
that's
prior to
true. Yeah.
Christianity 2,000 years ago, more or less everybody was on the same page with God as the Son, and they treated it that way.
Mm,
And I don't know, the more I learn about it, the more sense it makes to me. But nothing
yeah.
exists here without that.
Right. Huh. That is so wild. Like literally my
Well,
brain, I love conversations like this where it opens up. I told you guys you need to be open-minded, right? It opens up a whole different perspective that I had not ever thought about, but it makes so much sense. So much sense.
yeah, it's all simple and it was just made difficult. But yeah, and then think of it like if you walked up to God, do you think you could look directly at God's energy?
Mm.
No. But do you think you could get closer to it if you practice?
Oh, I like
Maybe.
that.
And then it's like outside of all the man-made things that we have in this world, like what is the one thing in nature you can't stare directly at?
Mm. Yeah, so powerful. Man, gosh. I tell you, I feel like we need to have a part two. Like this could just continue on and on with all of the stuff that you have learned and all of these perspectives that you have that I had never even considered. And I want to be respectful of your time. We do need to wrap up here, but I want to give you an opportunity to share anything before we wrap this up. Is there anything that you'd like to say?
Just educate yourself. If you ever feel like there's something that you can't get through, like keep looking. It doesn't matter who you are or what your problems are or what you feel like is holding you back. There's never been a better time in history to have it than there is today. There's solutions to problems that didn't exist, and it's out there, but you're not going to find it on TikTok. You're not going to find it
Mm,
on Google, and Siri or Alexa is not going to tell you about it either. But it's there if you're willing to look for it. And if you're having trouble finding the resources on that, you know, contact me and I'll get you directed in the right way. But the information's out there.
absolutely. Jake, thank you so much. Now, how do you want people to reach out to you?
I'll leave. I'll leave an email address. I don't do a
Okay.
lot of social media. Um, and yeah, if someone is interested in help with this or whatever, I'll uh, I'll leave an email address in the notes below.
All right. Well, I will put all of Jake's links, book recommendations, his email, how you can reach him, all of that in the show notes so that you can just click on it. Really easy to get in touch with him and learn more. I really feel like this needs to be a continuation. Like, if you all want to hear more from Jake, let me know. We can have a part two to this. I love it so much. Jake, thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us today and to help us see from a different perspective. It has been absolutely fascinating.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Amy.
Yeah, of course. All right, you guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please share this so that we can get this message out to more people. And until next time, I will be here holding space for you. Thank you for being here. And to my guest, thank you for your honesty, your courage, and your truth. It's an honor to hold space for people like you. If something in this episode stirred something in you, if you breathed deeper, softened, or felt a pull inward, consider this your invitation. Whether you're ready to share publicly or prefer to remain anonymous, I'd love to hold space for you too. This work isn't just for podcasts, it's for people everywhere. And I'm bringing it into businesses, schools, communities, organizations, anywhere humans need a place to be and for someone to hold space for them. To learn more or to schedule your own session or to be a guest on this podcast, visit www.getamyshelp.com or just reach out to me. I'll meet you with open arms and a quiet, sacred seat. Until next time, Thank you for being beautifully, unapologetically human.